crank these guys up this morning. Woo!
Coffee.
Yeah, well, you lose an hour's sleep when you have 2 cups of coffee to make up for it, right? Or 3, or maybe 4. Good morning, everyone. I'm well caffeinated. How are you? It's a wonderful day, even though they did take away an hour of our sleep. I'm glad to see you all here, and we'll see who begins wandering in going, oh, I forgot, right? I'm Reverend C.C. Coltrane, and I'm delighted to welcome you here this morning to Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Dayton. And if you're here for the very first time, we especially extend a welcome to you. Thank you for sharing your morning with us. And we would very much appreciate it if you'd fill out that little tear-off strip on your program cover and just drop it over at the Welcome Center at the end of the service. We promise we won't abuse your contact information at all. We just want to be able to send you a little thank you for being with us today. This morning, our reading and invocation will be given by Linda Andriaco, and our vigil holder is Lenza Smith. And Linda and Becky will be offering our interfaith candle lighting, which we do every Sunday morning to bring into our conscious awareness the many, many sources of wisdom and truth available from all of the world's spiritual and religious traditions. Our kids this morning are with Carol. Our kids ages 5 to 10, and I think the teens and tweens are with us here in the service. Is that right? So as the kids make their way over to find Ms. Carol, let's just say a quick blessing for them, knowing that they are the place Spirit shows up most unencumbered, with the most light and the most brightness. And so we bless all that they do today, knowing that they bless us and their world with their fresh, wide-eyed, open-hearted approach to life. May we learn from them and let them brighten our lives. So grateful we are for these beautiful kids and all that they bring to us. And so we simply let that be, and we say together, and so it is. Have a fabulous day, you guys. I know you are going to enjoy it, because I have an inside track and I know what you're doing. It's going to be fun.
We light the first candle in honor of Native American religious traditions. O great Creator, I come before you in a humble manner and offer you this sacrificed pipe. With tears in my eyes and ancient songs from my heart, I pray. I pray for my relations in nature, all those who walk, crawl, fly, and swim, seen and unseen, to the good spirits that exist in every part of creation. We light the second candle in honor of Buddhism, a mind unruffled by the vagaries of fortune, from sorrows freed, from defilements cleansed, from fear liberated. This is the greatest blessing. We light the third candle in honor of the Sufi tradition. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. We light the fourth candle in honor of Christianity. We are the children of light and love, the children of God. As such, we must have His qualities and His attributes of love, peace, and kindness towards all. We light the fifth candle in honor of Hinduism. Try not to change the world, you will fail. Try to love the world. Lo, the world is changed forever. We light the sixth candle in honor of Judaism. God is the mystery to which our lives are the answer. And we light the final candle in honor of Taoism. Kindness in words creates confidence. Kindness in thinking creates profoundness. Kindness in giving creates love. Thank you, Becky. The reading for today is from Ernest Holmes' Living the Science of Mind. I am within you is the presence there is. I create innumerable centers of my consciousness personified as people. Yet I am is the thread of a unity running through all. binding all back of myself. Because I am a perfect oneness, all of me exists everywhere. Wherever you recognize me, there I am. And whether or not you recognize me, I am still there. This divine visitor, which is your true self, and which is that which I am, is both the one who stands at the door and knocks, and the one who opens the door. Let's take these words into the silence for a couple of moments, please. We are all one with the great presence of God each and every moment of every day. I know each person here is connected, and I know that everyone receives the messages that they are meant to receive, and they have the courage to act on those messages. I am thankful for everybody here. I'm thankful for everyone participating in this service, and I am thankful for this facility and this moment in time where we can all share our beliefs. And I say thank you, God, and so it is.
So before I offer today's encouragement, I would like to take a moment to just consider that we're part of an international organization. We have centers all over the United States and in Ukraine and Africa, and opening this week, I believe, in Sydney, Australia, and where one of our former congregants lives, so I know about that center a whole bunch. And in South America and Central America and Singapore and all over the place. And so here at this center, we decided that we would like to pray for a couple of our sister centers around the world, and today we will be praying for the Center for Spiritual Living Salt Lake, which is where I grew up and learned about this philosophy, and CSL Benitez, California. So let's just take a moment to pause and remember that the presence of and power of Spirit is in every moment and every place. It fills each one of us, and it fills our communities with joy, purpose, love, compassion, and action, and that each of our communities is a place where a divine idea is taking shape. And so right now I particularly bring to mind Center for Spiritual Living Salt Lake City. And I know for that center that their light is shining brightly, and that they are now pulling in, attracting, bringing in their perfect minister to take up the reins, to bring to that community new vision, new purpose, new aims, and that they simply soar as a result. And I also bring to mind Center for Spiritual Living in Benitez, California, and I know that community too is a light to its surroundings, and that those who are seeking clarity, expansion, transformation are drawn to that center like moths to a flame, only in a good way, for they are not burnt up, but they are reinvigorated. They are reignited in their purpose and in their way of living. And so knowing this is the truth about both of these communities, and about all of our communities everywhere, that we are each divine ideas taking shape in communities around the world, changing lives, changing futures, changing everything. Because we know that to be the truth, we simply give thanks, we surrender it, knowing that it's already done. It is now coming into form. We call it good and very good, and in gratitude we say together, and so it is. So this morning we are going to move into a different phase of sort of what we talked about last week. Last week we talked about our personal selves, our personalities, and our founder Ernest Holmes felt that our personalities were the vehicles through which Spirit operates. And if our most foundational belief is true, if indeed there's only one that we call God, and that God is all there is, then that has to include our personalities. So that's what we talked about last week, and how we are each the lens through which that moves into the world. And I just want to do a little disclaimer when I use the word God. I mean the universal intelligence, the consciousness that lies within everything, the life force which is everywhere. I use the word God or spirit because they're short terms that sort of encapsulate what I'm referring to. It's hard for me to say. And in the presence of the vastness of the universe, the warm sense of life that we can sometimes touch, the creativity and creation in everything, there's too many words. So when I say God, that's what I mean. I mean allness, the all of it. I know that sometimes God is a word that we carry baggage around, so I just wanted to make that disclaimer. Anyway, as our founder, Ernest Holmes, was distilling this philosophy that we teach, he said we have a personal self that works as our personality, and we have an impersonal self. We are each personalized, individualized points in and of the life of God. And this is sometimes a distinction that's really hard to draw because it's sort of like pointing to a drop of water in the ocean and saying, I'm that drop. Or maybe it's easier to think about a drop as a wave comes up and there's spray and there's a drop there standing seemingly by itself. That drop is individualized, but nonetheless it is all ocean. There's nothing else it could be but ocean, right? So, excuse me. So while we're the drop, here we are in this form, I am a single drop of water. While we're the drop, we're still all ocean. Yet while we're the drop, while we're here in this life, on this planet, it's very easy to feel other than ocean, isn't it? It's easy to feel like we're separate from God, that we're separate from life, and that sense of separation can make us do some pretty weird stuff. Like the other day I was out walking my two little dogs and I passed a neighbor who was walking her dog who stopped to do his business, and she got her bag out and picked up after the dog and then put it in a garbage can that was sitting there waiting for pickup. And from the house behind we hear this yell, "Hey, that's my garbage!" And she was really embarrassed, but I was like thinking, this is so weird. We even claim that as our own. That's my garbage, right? It's pretty weird, isn't it? It's my trash. Don't you be touching my trash. We do it all the time, don't we? We do that all the time. It's my money. It's my lane on the highway. It's my cancer. It's my depression. It's my bad habit. It's my messy situation. It's my mistaken thinking. So we need to claim ownership of it. We try to stake title to whatever we're doing at the moment, and that makes us feel even more separate from each other, more separate from spirit, as we claim even our garbage as our own. It's my garbage. Don't touch it. But at the same time, we often look for somebody else to put responsibility on for our garbage. Like, my depression is because of my mother's raising and her genes, right? I can always blame it on her. My garbage is the result of somebody else's actions. Those things may actually have a bearing, but claiming my trash as mine and looking for someone else to pin responsibility on does not a single thing towards freeing me. That's the whole point, is we can claim it and we can look for who to blame it on, but that just keeps us stuck in the same place. It does nothing to free me. The only thing that frees me, according to the mystics of the ages and according to people who work with the brain nowadays, is to move our awareness from the little place of mine into our enormous selves, our spiritual selves, what Dr. Holmes calls the impersonal self, which is, this vast inner verse, if you will, this vastness that's inside each one of us. The only thing that frees us is to recognize that we are the perfect and right personality within the one person, the one presence, which is God. As today's reading reminds us, that presence is everywhere in its fullness, in its allness. It's always there. And when we can recognize and remember that and then live from that recognition rather than claiming our garbage, we become free. And the only way I know to do that is practice. Practice, practice, practice. And we practice when things are going well, like on a beautiful sunny day when we just gained an hour of daylight in the evening, and unfortunately it's a great practice. Lost an hour of sleep the same day, right? We got something to gripe about, we got something to look forward to. Which one are we going to claim? Which one are we going to claim? We practice when life is going well so we can stay there when life gets difficult. And there's a practice that when I thought about how I tried to move myself from this is my garbage into that state of bigger thinking, it came down to me in 3 words: meditate, elevate, celebrate. So that's what I want to talk about today. Meditation calms the mind, but it has an even more important function, I think. It gives us insight into what our minds are doing, because that's where we store our garbage. That's where we can take out the trash, right? We can see what we're putting in the trash. It lets us see what our minds are doing, but it also lets us see beyond them, beyond just the thinking part of us, that the monkeys that are throwing the banana peels at each other. I think most of us go through life thinking that what happens in our minds is reality. But meditation lets us find out it's mostly noise. It's mostly just noise in there. Meditation gives us the ability. Hi, Mary. I just saw you there. Mary's been out with double knee replacement. It was nice. It's nice to see you back. Thank you. Just got sidetracked, see? But that wasn't junk. That was real. That was my mind telling me, yeah, there's Mary. I love Mary. Meditation is what gives us the ability to be still long enough to see what's going on in here. And the meditation practice I use is simple but not easy. And it's really simple because all it involves is the breath. All I do is pay attention to my breath and then see what comes up. And then watch how it fades away. Something rises up and then it goes away. And another thing rises up and it goes away. And another thing rises up and it goes away. And I realize that most of what rises up and goes away is junk. It's just noise, right? It's not important at all. The reason it's hard, it's not easy, is because it requires a change of habit. And I don't know about you, but I really like my habits. They're hard. They run deep. Meditation requires the discipline of sitting still for a length of time every day, focusing on breathing. That's really easy. But it requires that I sit there every day for a prescribed, or at least most every day, for a prescribed amount of time. And what happens is I start thinking about what I have to do, who I have to call, what's on my calendar, what are my dogs doing, what's, blah, 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 blah. And there are all sorts of things to interrupt that time. But there is nothing that gives a bigger return than that 20 or 30 minutes sitting in stillness, just seeing what's happening. Nothing gives me a bigger return. I learn what I want to hang on to, what thoughts I want to follow and pay attention to, and how much better I am when the majority of them are just allowed to drift away, which they do of their own nature. They rise up and drift away, which is really good. And the rest of it is stuff I make up. Stuff I make up, and we all do that all the time. We base our lives mostly on stuff we make up. We judge others on their outsides compared to our insides. We judge situations based on the baggage we carry around, our fear, our shame, our failure to recognize our own basic goodness. We judge others based on some rigid idea of morality that was given to us by someone else who was as human and as confused as we are, right? Byron Katie, who many of you will know her name, she came up with this process called the work to deal with this stuff we make up, mostly. She says that when we're faced with a judgment or a belief about ourselves or another, the first questions we have to ask are, one, is it true? Most of the time we can say, nah. Even if we say yes, she says the second question is, are you absolutely certain that it's true? If you're absolutely certain, that's a good thing to base your reality on. But we're almost never absolutely certain, are we? Even if someone is rude to us, we can't be certain that they meant to be rude to us, that it was pointed at us at all. Even if it has our name attached to it, it may just be they just slammed their hand in their car door and they don't know what to do. They're ready to burst into tears. And who knows? Who knows what it is? But we're almost never absolutely certain of someone else's motivation, certainly, or why something happened. Those two questions let us start to look at what our minds are churning out in a more open way. And most of the time, since whatever we've been working through, we have made up, we don't know whether it's absolutely true or not, or whether it just came up from something that we thought we heard our mothers say a long time ago and took personally and have carried around ever since. That's what the spaciousness of meditation lets us look at. And that gives us an opportunity then to go deeper and to see that underneath what we've made up is a vast, vast region of possibility. When I can stop and say, what I've been thinking about myself, I am not absolutely sure if it's true. I wonder what else is possible. And then we find there's infinite possibilities under that stuff. We get the opportunity to at least be aware that there's possibility, right? When we start to let ourselves venture in that world of possibility, we start to wonder and see that maybe our judgments are not as accurate as we thought they were. Maybe our thoughts about a situation are limited. We start to connect with the enormity and the possibility of the impersonal self, the I am that is within each one of us. So meditation is the first place of connection with that. And the next one is elevation. We elevate our view. So we're looking at the situation from a higher viewpoint. Because what we see in meditation is that our thinking patterns get stuck in can't or won't or shouldn't or don't have it or not enough or he, she, it is doing this to me. And then if we can elevate our view, and this is an exercise in imagination, which is one of our amazing gifts, we can see what we're doing and second see that there's a way over or through or around or under whatever it is we've been looking at. And then we start to see the possibilities everywhere. We start to see with different eyes of the impersonal, the vast, the powerful self, rather than just the one that runs around in our head throwing garbage around. When we catch a glimpse of possibility, often our ways forward become clear. We just didn't see them before because they were blocked by can't or won't or shouldn't or don't have it or whatever it was. And we start to see how much is here that we have not acknowledged yet. And so Byron Katie has two more questions that follow those first two. Is it true? Are you absolutely sure that it's true? The next question is, when you believe that thought, that old thought, that stuck thought, how do you react? What happens? How do you feel? And finally, who would you be without that thought? Who would you be without it? There's another exercise in imagination to feel yourself free of that thought. If you're angry at someone, who would you be if you didn't have that anger? If you're resentful, who would you be without the resentment? If you're blaming, who would you be without the blame? If you're down on yourself, who would you be if you weren't? Who would you be without that thought? I'm working on a couple of things right now. Always, right? But one of them is aging. I have an idea in my mind, a bunch of old baggage from watching my parents, who I think became old when they were 40, right? I remember them coming home from work and saying, "Oh, I just can't do another thing." And there's lots more to do. I have more energy at 61 than my mother had at 40, but I'm still hearing this voice in my head that says, "I'm so tired, I just want to take a nap." It's not really true. I'm healthier now than I was at 40. I think more clearly. I certainly have more compassion. But there are these ruts in my mind that say, "You're over the hill. It's almost time to go out to pasture." You know? There are these ruts in my mind. And so when I take Byron Katie's suggestion, of course I know that's not true. But when I believe that, you know what happens? I get even more tired. I just get really tired. I get put into a place of instinctual behavior. Fight, flight, or freeze. For me, it's freeze on the couch under a blanket, right? That's where I go to. So when I can know on a higher level, when I can let what I know on a higher level enter my awareness, I know I have lots left to do in this lifetime. There's lots of things. And that impulse comes from this bigger self, the impersonal self, the great, powerful self within. And the old thoughts are ones I get stuck in that I picked up watching my parents. And I used to work for a guy, let's see, I would be in my early 30s, so he was maybe 35. And he was the tiredest person I ever met. You know, he came in late and he left early, and he said, "I don't know about you, but when I get home, I don't want to do anything." He was 35 years old. But anyway, those old thoughts are still in my head. And I have to keep listening in meditation and asking that question, is this true? If I think it's true, do I know it's true? And how do I feel when I think about that? And who would I be without the thought? And that last thing always takes me into who I really am, right? Who we all are really is the life of God. We are the life of God. And that is what lives within us. And the infinite energy and vitality of the universe is the I am that I can claim. The I am that I am. And then I'm open to possibility again. Then I can go to the gym again instead of curl up on the couch with a blanket. So my answer to the fourth question of Byron Katie is, who would I be if I didn't have those thoughts? I would be the I am, the energy of God and the love of God in action. And when I let go of that old thought and step into that, that's what happens when I elevate my viewpoint. Then I'm energized again, and that's where I'd much rather be. So the final part for me is then to celebrate. Celebrate when I catch myself doing this process. When I catch myself going, that's old thinking, it's not true, it's somebody else's garbage, it's not mine, I'm not going to claim it, I'm going to leave it where it lies, and instead I am going to go within and into that place where I glimpse possibility. And see what else is there. What else is there? You know, when you catch yourself doing that, when you catch yourself looking from a higher elevation or a bigger picture about yourself or anyone or any situation, give yourself an attagirl or an attaboy. Praise yourself. Celebrate it. Because it's something that a lot of people never ever do. When you can get still and see that there's something rolling around in your head that maybe you want to pull out and say, is this true? Can I really know this is true? And how do I feel when I think it's true? And who am I without it? woo, then you're into the place where you can see that there might be another possibility. You're no longer stuck hanging there, a single drop of water in midair. I just yesterday started to get involved with something called the Poor People's, what's it called? I think it's called Poor People's Action, Ohio Poor People's Action. And it's the Ohio branch of a national thing that was spoken into being by Reverend Dr. William Barber, who is like amazing, prophetic, profound man. And the whole idea is that we create relationships with each other, and relationships that begin to change the world. And it is a whole different way of thinking about addressing the grievous issues of our time, like poverty and violence and war and racism and genderism and all that stuff. It's a whole different way of looking at it, and Barber is the kind of guy who meditates and elevates and celebrates each one of us and himself in this way for thinking that there's a different possibility out there. So whenever you catch yourself in thinking, there's a different possibility for this world. I can see it. I can feel it. Give yourself congratulations. Celebrate yourself, because it's more of that thinking that begins to cohere with what other people are thinking. And then we start to move. We start to create movement in our world. Meditation, elevation, celebration, those are 3 steps that move us from this small ego framework that we put around our lives into vastness, into possibility, into open-hearted, unrestricted living, into wholeness, a sense of wholeness that is already the truth of who we are, but until we have a sense of it, nothing shifts. Once we have a sense of our own wholeness, life gets large and spacious and free. Meditate, elevate, celebrate your way into conscious awareness that you're the place God shows up. And that wherever God shows up, it shows up, all of it, with everything that it is. That's who you are, and that's where you live, and that's your place of truth if you let it be. So as we practice this in our daily lives, then it becomes who we live from, where we live from in every situation. It becomes what we come from in every moment. And then our lives become filled with joy and freedom and peace and plenty, and that's what we're all looking for, every single one of us. That's what the Buddhists would call freedom from suffering and happiness, right? So join me in this practice this week. Do it for a month and see what happens. Meditate, elevate, celebrate. And so right now, let's just come together in consciousness. So remember what we know to be the very truth of the universe. That there is only one consciousness, one life, one infinite love that is in back of all that has been created by it and through it and from its own being. For in the beginning there was this intelligence and power and nothing else. And from it sprang all that exists and springs continuously, moment by moment, all that comes into existence. There is only that one, and it is good. It is goodness. It is love and compassion and joy. It is power and presence and potential. It is possibility and freedom and abundance. It is vitality and immortality. It is every good thing. It is all things. And it moves and lives and has its being by means of each one of us. In fact, by means of all things everywhere. From the tiny little bit of consciousness in an atom to the self-conscious consciousness of you and me. It is an amazing, amazing, rich tapestry that is all a unit. It is only one. And it is right here where we are. And so as we breathe into that, I know for each one of us that we simply allow ourselves in our minds, in our awareness, to range into the territory of that one. We allow ourselves to move our imagination and our thoughts into the stream of infinite possibility that surrounds us, that we live in, that we are a drop of. And that as we do that, we realize that the only restriction, the only thing that separates us from all that is our own thinking. And so we are at choice, and I know that we choose wisely and well to let go of the thoughts that restrict us, that close our hearts, that make us feel bound, that keep us from understanding that we are life, we are love, we are compassion, we are wisdom, we are freedom, we are joy. And so we celebrate every single moment when we look at life and say, oh yes, that's what it is, and that's who I am. I am a place of choice, and I choose big. I choose limitless, I choose spirit. I choose not my old thoughts, but a new thought about myself. And that thought is that I am that I am. That God moves through me and in me and as me and is me. And so my life reflects that expansiveness, that beauty, that joy, that love, that power, that freedom. And so because I know this is the truth about each one of us, that we are each stepping forward into a life that is bigger today than it was yesterday, I just say thank you. I feel such gratitude to be part of this community. I feel such gratitude for each person who is part of this community and for all we do individually and together. We are changing our lives, we are changing our world. And so in deep gratitude, I simply let these words go. I know that the infinite yes has already received them. And the infinite yes has already replied to us. Yes, my beloved, it is so. And so we say together in gratitude, and so it is.
And just a thread, a simple thread in this glorious web of light. We are all just drops within a stream flowing towards an ocean of light. We may forget where we come from. We may forget where we're going to. I might
And now we have an opportunity to give to this community because we're part of this community. It's your community serving you in your transformation and your expansion and helping you change your world. So you may not be aware of it, but I just wanted to let you know that we truly are a center for spiritual living. Every week we have, I can't even count how many, probably 10 groups a week who meet here. 2 AA meetings, a weight loss organization, a women's cancer support group, a Course in Miracles. Monthly we have Abraham Hicks. We have all kinds of stuff going on. There are about 5 who meet here monthly, and the Grandmother Drum Circle twice a month, and yoga every single day. And we truly are a center for spiritual living. And so that is part of what we offer to the community, a space for all kinds of these activities. And that makes me really happy, and it makes the energy in this place really nice to come into in the morning. So I invite you to see what else is going on and participate in as much as you want to, because there's always something going on. And right now as we give, let's affirm together. I know the activity of abundance in my life.
I know the activity of abundance in my life.
And in this center.
And in this center.
I give and receive generously.
I give and receive generously.
From this everlasting flow of good.
From this everlasting flow of good.
And so it is. Oh, Becky, sometimes I just go away on the music. Gone. Wow. Couple of quick announcements. If you are new or recently come to the center, please join me if you can for Rap with the Rev in the adult classroom. Right after service, there's some food in the social hall, and then you just come to the door right across from the social hall, or right across from the lending library, probably about noon. And we'll just get to know each other a little better. And I was asked to give you a teaser. It's almost time for Cooking with God. Cooking with God, if you don't know, is a series of events that involve food and fun, and they're hosted by someone in the congregation. They raise funds for our work here at the center, but they also increase our joy. So next week in your bulletin, you'll find the flyer on how to host an event, and you choose what the event is about, how many people can come, when, where, etc. And then we create a little catalog, and people donate money to the center to attend your event. And the planners of Cooking with God are aiming at 20 events this year, so put on your thinking caps and come up with something that involves fun and food, and get to know some people a little better that way. In your bulletin insert, there is a notice about the March for Our Lives on March 24th at 11 a.m. at Courthouse Square. It's the one that says step in, step up, step out. If you can and are interested, please join us. Everything about that event is in that bulletin insert. There's also a map on our Facebook page, Center for Spiritual Living Greater Dayton, with details on exactly where down at Courthouse Square we'll be meeting, so please plan to be with us that day. We are creating a new set of name tags for everybody. The old ones are all crinkled up and been stuck in a closet for a long time. And they're on lanyards so they won't mess up your clothes. If you would please sign up on the clipboard at the Welcome Center if you'd like a name tag, and please everybody sign up because they really do help getting to know one another better. We'd also like to use them as a reminder if we don't see your name tag for a week or two that sometimes it's hard to remember who was here on any given Sunday. It'll help us remember who wasn't here and reach out to them so that people don't fall through the cracks quite so easily. That would be a wonderful thing. So if you we'll sign up some Sunday in the next couple of weeks over at the Welcome Center for a name tag, and that way we'll get your name spelled right too. That would be a wonderful thing. There's lots in your bulletin today as well. There is the Discover course, which comes up March 25th for a couple of weekends after that. There's, the Spring Yard Team is meeting starting April 1st.
No, it's the first Saturday in April. That's the wrong date.
Oh, So whatever date that is, the first Saturday in April, April 6th. Whichever date it is. You can talk with Teresa Napke about it. There's all sorts of stuff that are stuff coming up and happening around here. And so please take a look at the things in your bulletin. If there's anything in your life that you'd like prayer for, just ask one of the beautiful women in the teal or white stoles, and they'll be happy to pray with you after the service. They have had years and years and years of practice and mental focus in seeing the truth even when you can't. So please, that's their gift to you on Sunday. So take advantage of it. You can also leave a written prayer request in the prayer chest by the door, and they'll pick it up and pray for you. You can call, or you can call our prayer line, which is on the back of the bulletin. Normally, I'd say you could go to our website too, but I'm not sure that prayer link is working. We're working on a new website, and we have poltergeists, so call instead. Just call. Take a few minutes after service to introduce yourself to the people around you and share hugs with them. Hugs are very, very good for us. And so get 10 or 12 before you leave today. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who got out of bed on time this morning. I congratulate all of us for being here. For our ushers and greeters, our welcome team, our practitioners, the Higher Mind Band, always, y'all just are amazing. We love you, love you, love you. And all of you, thank you. So let's stand for our closing affirmation. Our closing song is One Love. Getting a little reggae here. So please know with me, today I choose to meditate.
Today I choose to meditate.
Elevate. And celebrate my life. I choose to live for my divine self.
I choose to live for my divine self.
Always in all ways.
Always and always.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Have a terrific week.